This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you do the roll call, please?
Certainly. Councilwoman Fareed,
Here.
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Here.
Councilmember Hairston,
Here.
Councilmember Herring,
Here.
Councilwoman Jones,
Here.
Vice President Ferguson,
Here.
President Curtis.
Here.
Also, we have joined on the call Mayor Cross. We have the acting city manager, Chief Regis Bryant. Back
Here.
to you. Back to you, Council President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second, in discussion? Just wanted to inform the council at the end of this, I'll have to be taking a motion to go into closed session. It's not highlighted on here, but it is highlighted that at any moment we can propose a motion. So just want to give you a heads up that I do plan to propose a motion to go into closed session at the end of this meeting. With no other discussion, Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Fareed,
Yes.
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilmember Hairston,
Yes.
Councilmember Herring,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones, I apologize. Did I call your name during the
Yeah.
roll call?
Yes, you did.
Okay, all right. Councilwoman Jones, Vice President Ferguson
Yes.
and President Curtis.
Yes.
Vote is 7-0 carries.
Okay, thank you. First up are the minutes for October the 3rd, October 2nd, and October the 17th. Sorry, someone say something? Okay. The work session on October 3rd, the public hearing on October 11th, and the regular session on October 17th has been added for your review. And we will be voting on it in a couple of weeks at our regular session. So if you have any feedback, please feel free to email the council clerk, vice president, and I, and we will get on it if there's something that we missed. All right. Next up is legislation. The first two legislations, I believe, were introduced by Council Member Herring. It already had its official reading, but Mr. Herring, did you want it to be read again, or did you have any updates that you wanted to go over?
No, we've already had it at one work session and had a public hearing, so I don't have anything to update on it.
Okay. Any other questions relating to those two ordinances? One relating to the ordinance to adopt procedures for residential parking permit guidelines, and the other one to amend section 149-22 .1 commercial vehicle parking restrictions. Are we good on that? Okay, we'll move on to next thing, which is a resolution awarding the purchase of a security system for the city hall to Ricotta and granting the council president or mayor the authority to enter into a monitoring contract. Madam Clerk, could you pull that up? Or would you like me to share my screen?
If you could share the screen, I've allowed it to be shared, Council President.
Okay. 1 second. Don't mind that at all. Okay. Madam Clerk, would you mind doing the reading?
I'm sorry. A resolution awarding the purchase of a security system.
Point of order, Mr. President. If this is just a work session, why are we reading it into the record? I mean, we're supposed to just have discussion.
Well, we've historically have read it into the work session. I don't think there's anything wrong with it or out of place, out of order.
I just think it just takes up a lot of extra time when this is supposed to be an informal meeting to discuss legislation that's for discussion. Why do we need to read it into the record when we're just going to be discussing it? And we're not taking no formal action on it anyway. It's just for us discussion purposes. I'm just saying, I just think it just takes extra time when we don't really need to.
Understood.
Mhm.
Well, as Rita had, are there any questions on it, or is anyone that wants to has not read it? Councilwoman Jones?
I'm sorry. I do agree with Councilman Herring. We never read legislation on a work session. It's going to be read in the regular meeting anyway. But since I think Lieutenant Robinson is on here and he's the one that did the research work for this, if he has anything that he would like to add to give the council more background on what what the city's proposing, I would appreciate hearing from him. Thank you.
Hello, can you see me?
We can see you and hear you.
Oh boy, how you guys doing? So last week, I forwarded an email, or should I say a video of the security system, the Verkada security system to all council members and including the mayor. It's pretty self-explanatory, all the things that it can do. I think it's a great system, first of all, for the city. It does, again, like I said, you watch the video, you can see all the things that it's capable of doing. The only thing I believe that it doesn't do is they don't have a monitoring system. In other words, no one monitors it. We're the only ones that monitor it. And whoever is monitoring the system, it's web-based. Number one, it's web-based, so we can actually look at it with a cell phone and or computer. We get alerts whenever someone comes into the building or enters into a zone. The system does almost everything. You name it, it can do it. For example, if someone came in there with a red baseball cap or in the area of the police department, or should I say city hall, with a red baseball cap, you could type in red baseball cap, black male, blah, blah, blah. And it'll give you all of the images of a person with a red baseball cap in the area. You could also do the same thing with vehicles, tag numbers, physical descriptions. It's got infrared. So at nighttime, you can do it. You know, you can see the heat of a body. So if someone's hiding somewhere, you can actually see them. You know, you can see their figure. So like I said, the system does a lot. So if you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to answer. But I really like the system.
Thank you, Lieutenant Robinson. Councilman Jones, is that a new hand?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So Lieutenant Robinson, can I say that this is a step up from the ring system?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mhm.
Council President, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to run next door. I think the noise is coming from them setting up the polling. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Because I'm not sitting on the phone because they're not here.
Are there any other questions for
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Harry?
Okay, first of all, I think $30,000 is a lot of money to spend on a security system. Second of all, we have a video system in there now that's not even being utilized. I was going to have it on as a topic of discussion tonight because I noticed some of the cameras are not working when all they need to do is fix them. And then the monitoring isn't being done even inside the office with what we have now. Right now, we don't have the cameras. The camera used to be on a receptionist desk where they should be, especially when somebody comes around to that side door, so nobody has to walk all the way around it and they will know who's coming in the building or who's ringing the bell at the side door. So I think we need to see what we have now, see how it's utilized. I mean, the one we have now that actually have face recognition and all this other stuff that on it. We need to see what the capabilities are of the one we have now. Make sure that's being utilized the way it needs to be utilized before we go spend $30,000 on a new system that may be sitting dormant like this one is right now. You know, it's not being utilized to its full potential. I just think $30,000 is a lot of money when we have a system already in place that's not fully functional, and not due to it not being able to, because we're not using it to its full ability. So that's my feeling on that.
Lieutenant Robinson, could you give some feedback on our current system?
Yeah, so the current system now, of course, we have a lot of cameras, and like Mr. Herring said, a lot of them don't work, and we don't have anyone that can fix them for the most part. Now, the camera that he was talking about that's sitting over the receptionist desk or whatever, that is actually a Bricata camera. That is, they gave us a demo to use, and that camera right there is the demo that sits over her desk. And the good thing with Bricata, if any of the cameras go down, if any of the cameras, like the system is now, all we have to do is make a phone call, and they'll basically send us the camera in the mail, and we'll just put the other one back in and send it back to them. So as far as all the systems going down, they provide us with brand new cameras when one goes down, which is not what we have now. Like I said, we have several cameras that are not working. Who can we call to come fix them, and how much it's going to cost? And like I said, those cameras that they sent to us, there are no cost. They're replacements.
Mr. President.
Yes, Councilman Harris.
And what I'm not talking about the camera in the administrative area. I'm talking about the monitoring of the cameras. On that desk should be a monitor so people can see, so the administrative assistant can see who's coming to their side door, what's going on in the parking lots. That capability was taken out because the previous mayor didn't want it in there because he was in his feelings that somebody was watching him. You know, so, and also the person that can fix the cameras, Dennis Bravo, who's the one that always worked on the cameras, you know, had to come out and fix them, and they had to be hooked up to the Wi-Fi and everything else. So no matter what system you get, you're still gonna have to have technology, and have the IT people or technology foundation to keep them even running. It isn't just you just put the cameras up and leave them be. They shut down because of Wi-Fi issues. They shut down because of surges. They shut down for a whole lot of reasons. And that, I mean, spending $30,000 because some of the cameras aren't working. Maybe we need to find out what's going on before we invest $30,000 in new cameras. If we got surges going through the building and we're going to put new cameras up, we need to look at that. If it's going to short them out in no time flat, there's no need buying new cameras. But I think we need to see what we can do with the system we got now and see if we can get that back up and running, and seeing if there is an electrical problem, because we do have major surges in that building, you know, all the time. It took the server down one weekend when I was up there trying to work on something. Everything went down, you know. So I just think that we need to see what we can do with what we have instead of spending $30,000. I can think of a whole lot of other things to do with $30,000 and buy some cameras, you know, and for that building, especially when we got cameras up and we're not even using those to their full capabilities. So that's my feeling on that. All right, thanks.
Thanks. I did have one question. I know it says that we have funding is available, but was that originally budgeted for the FY23, a new security system? Either Chief Bryan or Lieutenant Robinson.
When I took over, well, first of all, good evening, everyone. When Ms. Barber was there, we discussed it. Dean, if he's on, he should be able to let us know if money was set aside for that. But we did have several meetings with Ms. Barber, the lieutenant, and I, and it appeared from the way she was talking that money was available for that. I don't know if it was budgeted, or it was coming out of some fund, but that's all I know at this particular time.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes, I'm on. Yes, that funds were set aside and budgeted for the new cameras.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Councilwoman Jones?
Yes, I, the technology on the system that they have setting up there now is what, probably 10 years old? And that's probably why you can't find anybody to repair that system or probably find parts for that system. Lieutenant Robinson, that $30,000, is that the initial cost? That is a one-time initial cost to get these systems set up?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So there's always complaints of the city hall not having security. I think we need to move forward with getting security around City Hall. They've had it before, and like I said, those cameras that they have up there now, looking at the monitor that it has in the Go Room Coordinator's office, all that stuff is old, and it needs to be updated, and it will have to be up no matter what we do. Even if, like I said, I doubt very seriously that it's at least 10 years old. So I think it needs to be updated, and I think we need to move forward with security because of certain incidences that happen. There's almighty complaining about, well, in this resolution, it says that talks about loitering and illegal dumping and these different things going on. We need a security system. And one other question, Lieutenant Robinson. So Councilman Herring mentioned IT. Are these, will we have to get T-Spec involved in this, or does Vicaria, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce, what's the pronunciation? Vicaria. Verkada. Will they be able to do all the IT work that's required for this?
Yes, they're gonna come out there. They're gonna come out here and install all the cameras and get the system up and show, teach whoever needs to learn how to work it on the computer or their cell phones. And also, I forgot. Go
ahead.
I was also going to mention that we also have we're also going to put cameras in the gold room. There's no cameras in the gold room, just in case, these functions that go on in the gold room, we'll be able to monitor those and make sure, everything goes okay. And also we have additional cameras on the parking lot because there's a lot of blind spots on the parking lot for the cameras now that really don't see anything of the parking lot, because we've had the police department, we've had issues on the parking lot, and when we try to view cameras to see exactly what happened, of course, we don't have cameras positioned there to catch to capture the incident. So be another reason why it's $30,000. So we've got more cameras to better secure the whole building.
Thank you.
Mr. President, Mayor,
Yes, Lieutenant.
those cameras that's up there now are no more than about 3, maybe 4 years old. That's it. Those cameras were the last thing that the previous, well, I can't say the previous city manager because we've been through so many. But when Mr. Jones, before he left, and he's been gone about 3 years, that's when he put those up, the last thing he did before he left up out of here. That's why they have face recognition, because they got the most recent technology at that time. As for IT, they can, if I'm gonna tell you, I'll hit the roof if we allow a company to come up here and access our servers to put those cameras up. After we had that serious breach of our security with a ransomware, the IT T-Spec is going to have to be involved with that, because no one is just going to be able to access our servers without permission and without passwords. So to say that T-Spec is not going to be involved, that's highly unlikely. If that information is going to run through our servers and save on our server and save so that you can recoup it, unless it's going into the cloud. And is it a cloud-based technology? Or is it server-based? Do we know?
It's cloud-based.
Okay, so you're still going to have to have IT out here and hook up something. So it's going to run through our Wi-Fi or something. So that's my feeling. I mean, like I said, again, I do know those cameras are not that old. They're not 10 years, nowhere near being 10 years old, the ones that's up there. And also, you definitely gonna have to have T-Spec involved in it when it comes down to Wi-Fi and the technology and logging in and securing our servers. going into the cloud. So that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. Lieutenant Robinson, the current cameras, they're what, Ring?
No. I don't know. I don't know the name brand of cameras that we have now. They're different cameras. It's like two to three different sets of 2 to 3 different brands of cameras in the police. I mean, in the area now. I don't know the names of them, but they're not Ring cameras. They might have one Ring camera, and that might be at the police station where the voting box was at one point. They put a Ring camera there, but other than that, no, there's no Ring cameras in the building.
So we don't know the company that installed the 3 different brands.
Well, I think our code enforcer installed those cameras.
Okay.
Jerry Thomas.
Yeah, Jerry Thomas. I believe he installed those cameras that are in there now. Like I said, they're different cameras. Like I said, they're not the same camera. I think he may have gotten them from like Best Buy or something like that.
Okay. And one more question, as it relates to the security of the building, I think that's, cameras is only half the battle, right? Does it tie into any type of other mechanisms like locks or anything like that? Or are we just talking about strictly cameras?
I think I'm just talking about strictly cameras. I'm not sure about locks or anything like that.
And has this been evaluated in the total package of security for the premises? Because it seems like there's one component. How does this tie into the overall? Has there been an overall security assessment of the building? What's needed, cameras, locks, whatever. Are there any other additional components to security that needs to be addressed?
Well, I've done several security assessments of our building with at least three vendors, and like I said, we were all in line with putting the cameras where we think they need to be.
Okay.
Now, as far as locks and things like that, that's not what we were discussing at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are there any other questions from council members? Sorry. I'm sorry. I thought it had been up there for a while, but Councilman Jones.
Lieutenant Robinson, did they give us any references as to someone else that already has this system?
Yes, he's told me a couple of police departments that have the systems already. None of them come to my mind right now. I believe, I'm not sure, maybe Bladensburg and Hyattsville, I believe. I'm not sure. I can get back to you definitely by the next meeting with all the police departments in Prince George's County or government buildings that they set up there. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right. Thank you. Chief Bryant?
Yes, actually I spoke to him on Thursday, and he's willing to come on one of the meetings via Zoom and give us additional information. That's why I had Lieutenant send the link out to everybody to take a look at it before he comes out. But he's available whenever they answer any questions, and I'm pretty sure he can answer some of the questions that you guys have. But we do have contact for him, and as I said, I spoke to him on Thursday.
Okay.
Keep that in mind.
Thank you, sir. If there's no more questions from the council members, we'll
Mr.
move on.
President, Mr. President, just one question. What budget line item is this actually coming out of? Because it might be, or it's supposed to be, isn't working for me. I need to know exactly which budget line item is coming out of.
It's actually in, I'm sorry, I switched over to the next resolution.
On page 33. This is line 33. I'm sorry.
Yes, line 33. Is Mr. Stewart still? Mr. Stewart, do you know what the account name for this line is? 7612.
It would be in the capital section of the budget. I don't have it right now in front of me, but it's in the capital section.
All right, thank you.
Point of order, Council President, can we wherever the noise is coming from, can we get that muted?
I think it's in the background of Lieutenant Robinson.
Oh, okay, okay. He's working, okay.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to a resolution to draft and award a contract to Canray Construction Incorporated for snow and ice control services. Are there any questions, Chief Ryan, that you want to talk about this contract? Oh, this resolution? You're on mute, Chief Ryan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry about that. I did speak with Ms. Barbara briefly last month about the snow removal contracts because we wanted to make sure that we had the contracts in place before snow arrived in the city of Glenarden. And she told me about the three proposals that we had. And the one with Conray Construction, she said after speaking with all of them, and she was more comfortable and happy with going with them. So that's the one that the resolution was prepared for before she left.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the council?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Harris?
So where are we getting the salt?
Okay, the salt is that's a different MOU. We looked it up and apparently we're covered until September 1st, 2023 with the state of Maryland in reference to the salt for the city of Glenarden. I spoke to Jordan about that and he was able to pull it up. And apparently when past Chief O'Donnell was here, is some contract from September 1st, 2020 through September 1st, 2023 for salt to be provided to the city of Glenarden from Maryland Department of Transportation.
Okay, so has this been communicated to the vendor that they will need to get salt from the salt houses from the state of Maryland?
I can check on that and just to make sure through that paperwork, I can check on that and make sure that it's still in effect.
Well, I mean, it probably is still in effect with our contract with the state, which we do need to verify that we are still under contract with the state because I thought the contracts were only like about a year, but he may have did it before, you know.
Yeah, I saw something in writing today that said September 1st, 2020 through September 1st, 2023. So you're correct. It's always good to follow up each year just to make sure that everything's still in place. So that's something we can look into. And
yeah, but we definitely got to make sure that this vendor knows under his contract that he is not to provide the salt because that's where they hit you is with the salt.
Right.
They hit us with almost $50,000 in salt and the contract wasn't even that much. That was only for one snow episode. So
right.
We just need to make sure in this contract, and I'm looking at it right now and I don't see much in here in the way of salt or that it's been cleared that to them that the city will provide salt and that they need to go pick it up from the salt house because that's another whole procedure in and of itself.
Okay, yeah, that's something I can look into. I'll be in touch with you on that. We can talk
Okay.
about that.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
Councilwoman Jones? You're on mute.
Just as an FYI, this is a vendor that we used in the past, so I'm it says, I'm sorry, line 12 of that resolution says, whereas the city wishes to hire an independent contractor to provide snow removal and ice control. So, I thought I had read somewhere where it said that we provided the salt. But okay, yeah, that can be checked on. But this is a vendor we've used in the past, so I'm sure that they're aware of that too, and it probably would need to be put in writing. Thank you.
Any other questions regarding this resolution? Thank you, Chief Brian. Appreciate it. Next up is a resolution to establish a special fund known as the Glenarden Community Resilience Hardship Fund to reduce the impact of economic hardship arising from the pandemic caused by the coronavirus in the city of Glenarden. Councilwoman Guillaume, or Councilwoman Guillaume, you wanna?
Thank you, Council President. Would it be possible for you to share this, your screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I wanted to first bring attention to one thing, and this is not to put her on the spot at all, but Woman Jones, your name isn't on here because I wasn't clear I remember talking about another legislation and I was like, oh, I didn't want to overstep and put you on this one. I forgot. So if you don't see your name on here and you intended to have your name on here, I apologize. It was on me and we can put it, but if you didn't, that's fine as well. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If we scroll down, just to get right to it, this particular legislation is intended to use ARPA funds to assist small businesses and nonprofits who are in the city of Glenarden. If you scroll to the next page, Council President, I wanted to, so paying attention to line 48, this number, I am not tied to that number as where it says 400,000. I was just I put it in here based on the fact that there are nonprofits in this community. There are also several businesses who are in this community. And if the council feels like this is too low, I understand. If the council feels that it's too high, I also understand. But nonetheless, I do feel the importance and significance of this particular legislation to assist small businesses and nonprofits that have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, if we go to the next page, Council President, next page is, I'm sorry, continue, right there. So you'll see, and again, there are certain things that are open for discussion, but when I thought about this particular legislation, I felt like it wouldn't be fair for a new business to come in and to try to take advantage of this particular legislation or this grant opportunity because they weren't here to actually deal with the impacts of COVID-19 to even know that it impacted their business. So I tried to go back into my memory as to when businesses started to shut down or when work started being virtual. And so hence you'll see March 15th, 2020. And also one of the main things that I want to also state is 1, 2, 3. If you look at the fourth bullet where it says vape, liquor, so those businesses are not eligible. So I know that there are several tobacco businesses that are on MLK, and I recall while campaigning and even while this council came into office, a lot of conversation and even investigation had been done in regards to why these tobacco businesses here. A lot of citizens, publicly stated that they were not happy with the tobacco and vaping stores being there. And of course, we end up finding out why they were there or how they got there in the first place. But nonetheless, liquor stores, vape, and tobacco businesses are not eligible for this particular grant. So just wanted to put that out there. And as far as requirements, this is going to go for almost every legislation that I probably want to put forth. As far as the application, I feel that we need a project manager to actually administer some of these things. And we as a council and a project manager can come up with what the application should state. I have some things in mind, but nonetheless, in addition to the application, you see all of the other bullets below under requirements that, I, felt would actually prove how a business is actually here and their particular hardship. So that's all that I wanted to state at this time. If there are questions, I can try to answer them or look for a response at a later time.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Mayor.
Councilman Harris?
Okay, I guess my thing is, I was looking at that $400,000 because I do not think we should be giving $400,000 to businesses and only $250 to the citizens. Those numbers need to
Right.
be, that's your other piece of legislation. So I think that number is too high. I also, I was looking in your, the requirements or the criteria, and you don't have, you don't have anything, and maybe that's where this under requirements where it says current valid City of Glenarden non-residential use and occupancy permit.
Yes.
What is that?
So sometimes there are businesses that are here that are occupied by folks who don't live in Glenarden, but they own a business in Glenarden. So that's basically the that's the abbreviated version of what that is.
Well, could we just say that they need to have a current business license?
Absolutely.
Because I think that'll, you know, they gotta, you know, if they don't have a business license, they shouldn't be operating in Glenarden anyway.
Absolutely.
And
And
that-
again, I just want, so to Councilman Herring, sorry for interrupting you. I just want to say that this is just my stab at this. So I'm
Right.
not tied to anything here. So
Okay.
absolutely.
Also, is there a way, because I know some businesses have already gotten grants from the county and the state. You know, are we going to give them more money for their hardship, or we're going to, you know, have the project manager verify that, you know, they haven't dipped already once?
That can
ARPA
be part
funds?
of the app. That could be part of the application where, you know, they would probably have to put a check if they've been given funding and before, and probably not give them priority treatment. Like priority treatment will probably be given to businesses that haven't gotten it yet. Now the odds are being that we're so late into utilizing these ARPA funds, odds are some of these businesses, if they knew about opportunities that could help them, they probably did take advantage of it, probably.
Yeah, I think a lot of them probably took advantage of that and that payroll credit that you,
Mhm.
whatever the heck that was. So those are just a few of my comments that I've noticed. I do, like I said, that $400,000. I think we should always give more to our citizens versus the business.
I agree. And I'm fine with 150, you know, like, again, I just wanted to put a number
Right.
there and not leave it blank. But what's more important for me is the legislation and council coming together with a number versus not putting a legislation forward at all.
Okay, also, there's another issue because you have in here at 1, the council directs the treasurer to establish a line item in the FY23 budget to be referred to as community resilience hardship. That's actually an amendment of the budget. So we're gonna amend the budget to make that, to add that line item.
Okay, so what would we, so separate from an amendment, because I can ask for an amendment, but separate from an amendment, is there a recommendation for how grants can be obtained utilizing ARPA funds from the budget? Is there? Because I know for the next grant, for the next legislation, I have the same language as well.
Yeah, you're probably gonna have to amend the budget. I mean, to set those funds aside specifically for this program.
Mhm.
Because it's not in the budget. You know, all other programs, we you know, we've set money aside for those, specifically for those programs. There is a line item in it that says, I think it says ARPA funds is like $520,000, but it's general. I'm not sure. Yeah, you're in a line item.
Yeah.
That's basically segmenting out a section of the, segmenting out funds in the budget, which is really a budget amendment, which means you have to go by way of ordinance for both of them.
So that will be over 21 days. That will be 21 days and.
No, you can do it if you get, you can do it as an emergency ordinance. It'd be no more than 6.
Okay.
If you can get it, you know, emergency ordinance to amend the budget, you just need, you know, you need 5 votes to amend the budget. So,
Right.
You know,
Okay.
you do it as an emergency ordinance and nothing but 6 days, really. I don't even think you need a public hearing if we take it as an emergency.
Okay. So and thank you for that, Councilman Herring. And again, when I did this, I was operating off of the way I did the other grant, the intergenerational one. So totally get it. And I will definitely go the route of emergency ordinance because, you know, ARPA funds need to be utilized. So, okay.
Yeah. That's it for me. Thank you.
acting council clerk, would it be possible for you to, where the bullet where it says current valid city of Glenarden non-residential use, can we change that to business permit?
This is Robin. Are you speaking to me? I sure can.
Yes, yes.
Okay, certainly.
Okay, thank you.
I did have one question, Councilwoman Guillaume. For the commitment to maintain funded projects in the city of Glen Island for a minimum of 2 years, what happens if they don't? Is there you know, how do you enforce that piece?
That again is something that I want to see if the project manager can offer that. I know that in other municipalities, not just in this particular area, but other throughout the nation, that language has somewhat been consistent, where you don't want to obviously give money to a business and then they
leave. Yeah.
They leave, right? So I'm interested in seeing it, any idea. I don't know if there's a repayment clause that we can put in there. I'm not opposed to a repayment clause being put in there. If we can put it in there, I'm fine. And since it's our legislation, I think we can.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah. Great question.
All right.
Let me
Councilwoman Harry. I'm sorry.
One question. I'm actually looking at the, oh, go ahead. Who?
Councilman Harry, sorry.
I'm looking at the budget, and I do see in here ARPA grant for residential nonprofit, $400,000. So it is in the budget already, but I don't see anything for the, what did you have money affixed to your intergenerational legislation? Was that?
No, if I recall, when we were doing the budget during the summer, we were thinking of what possibly can we come up with for, ARPA funds. And at the time, I remember saying that there are things that I want to put in place, I have in mind to put in place, but I hesitate to bring anything forward without a project manager. But now I'm just putting things forward. So back then I just affixed a number there.
Right.
So if 400 is there already, I am, for me, I'm fine with making this legislation, like changing the 400 to 100 maybe, and keeping the 250 for the next one that we haven't discussed yet. That's going to be coming up in a few minutes. And that way we hopefully won't have to amend the budget.
Right.
Via emergency ordinance.
Yeah, because in the budget it has $400,000 and it says resident/nonprofit. So I'm assuming that's covering these two pieces of the legislation. So you can't go over $400,000. That way you don't have to worry about amending the budget. You can just change your numbers based on, the resolutions.
Yeah. Okay.
Like say 101 or 150 and 250 or something like that.
Okay. I'm getting this, y'all. I'm getting it. Thank you.
All right. That's it for me. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions, comments from council members?
And again, I Council President, I just hope my co-sponsors are okay with my saying 100,000 instead of 400. Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay.
All righty. Thank you so much.
Council President, Chief Bryan has his hand raised. I don't know if that's for a question here or from before.
I'm trying to get it down. Thank you.
I'll give you some help. There we go. All right. Without any more questions on this one, this resolution, we'll move to the next one, which is.
Council President,
I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
are we gonna give it a number?
So I don't know if acting council clerk is ready to give it a number. Acting council clerk, are you ready to give it a number?
Yes, I can. My understanding was that it came to the work session and then I updated based on what the conversations were and then given a number for the public hearing. That was my understanding. So yes, by the time it comes to public hearing, it will have a number associated with it. Is that not correct?
No, and So I also say that, yeah, so are we not going to give a resolution to purchase a security system and a resolution to award the contract to Canray Construction though?
Yes, that one as well.
Yeah,
Normally we give a number in the work session, but we're working it, but president's call.
yeah, we can give it a number later.
Okay, I apologize for that. I didn't know that was part of the process, and I don't have the my log of numbers. I wouldn't want to number it incorrectly, but I'll
Yeah.
make sure that I get back to council on Wednesday when we come back to let you know what those numbers are.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Council, oh, shucks, I think I'm doing something wrong. I apologize. I forgot to mention one thing from the last legislation. So just wanted to say that one of the things that I'm also going to be looking towards the council for us to decide on once we get this project manager is what the amount per business should be. Like there should be a cap.
Yeah.
So just want to put that on record. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next up is a resolution to establish a grant program for the City of Glenarden Housing Authority. Councilman Herring or Councilman Hairston or Councilman Gill.
Yeah, this is a program I discussed it with Councilwoman Guillaume and Councilman Harrison, and we were trying to do something after we had the public hearing to help that Glenarden Housing Authority in some way. I know we did legislation for the HOAs, but we kind of skipped over the housing authority. So I just wanted to bring this to try to give them some relief over there also. So I mean, one of my other colleagues probably have more to say on it. So.
I don't want to speak over Councilman Hairston as this is his ward. Councilman Hairston, may I speak?
Yeah, you good.
No, so yes, so in agreement with what Councilman Herring suggested, we definitely want to help the Glenarden Housing Authority. We also want to be strategic as to how we help the Housing Authority. If you scroll down, you could kind of see how Councilman Herring actually put things in place, right? So the criteria and qualifications have to be set down by the mayor and city council. What we don't want to happen, I think for those of us who, I think all of us were at the town hall that we had with the housing authority. What we don't want to do is give the housing authority a blank check, the folks a blank check, and we don't know what happens with the funding. So just want to make sure that the qualifications are set and criteria is set in place by the administration. So the $60,000 will be used to actually assist. That's all I had to say. Councilman Hairston or Councilman Herring, I think that's what I had. I don't know if others had.
Yeah.
Councilman Harrison or Herring, are we?
I'm
Any
good.
addition?
Oh, I'm good.
I'm good. Y'all swung big. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Next up is a resolution to establish a special fund known as the Glenarden Good Samaritan Hardship Fund to reduce the impact of economic hardship arising from the pandemic caused by the coronavirus in the city of Glenarden. Councilwoman Guillaume?
Yes, so similar to what we have done in the past, if we scroll, thank you, you'll see that the purpose, if we look at line number 51, in particular, City of Glenarden residents with their rent, mortgage, utilities, groceries, and prescriptions. That's all I could think of. What we could think of as far as hardship. And you see the amount is 250,000. I think we kind of beat that to a pulp. We talked about it while discussing the prior legislation. So if we go again to the next 2 pages, not the next page, but the page after this one, yep, you'll see that again, this is something that just started writing down. So similar to what we just did with the other legislation that I mentioned, not stuck on this. This is just brainstorming, but you'll see certain things where property taxes and city bills are not eligible. I forgot, I think I forgot, I don't remember if I put this in here, but we as council or public officials are not eligible as well, but you could kind of see the requirements. And if I miss something or if something doesn't make sense, then we can change that as well. Also, one of the things that we, myself and some of co-sponsor discussed was if you look at proof of residency and within 3 sub-bullets under where it says you see 60 days as the call out number. What we didn't want to do is have a citizen who, or a former citizen, somebody present a bill from 90 days and they're no longer even living here. And so we tried to make it 60 days. So to make it as clear to it, close to where we are as possible, meaning as far as their residency.
Okay.
So that's it for me.
Are there any questions from council members?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Harry?
So will a landlord be able to apply for these funds or just the renter?
A landlord can apply for the funds if they're not getting any rental income.
If they're not what? If they're not getting what?
Rental income, like sometimes, like there've been situations where landlords have, tenants who are unemployed, can't pay the bills or whatever. So they in turn have to pay their bills, meaning the landlord themselves. Now, I think the catch-22 will probably be if we look at the household themselves, like if we see several households, and that's for us to discuss, if we see several members of a household, like if a tenant is applying and then a landlord is applying, that's two different things. Like we have to actually try to justify how we're going to do that. But I was saying that yes, landlords can. What are your thoughts? You're saying that you think they shouldn't?
I don't think they should. I think it should be the renter. That way we'll know that the money is actually going to the landlord if that's who we need to pay. A landlord can apply for them, can apply for the funds, and the renter could give them the funds and we would never even know. They could apply for the funds and get funds from them and get funds from the renter. We wouldn't know, because the renter wouldn't, they're not obligated to tell us that they paid the landlord, or they might not even know that the landlord applied for the grant. So he may end up getting paid twice. Once from us and once from the renter, because he could be still harassing them, giving him the money, and they'd be like, okay, here's your money, but yet he got an application in play here showing that these people are delinquent.
Right. And I'm thinking one of the things that when it comes to this also is I don't think, as far as rental housing or even more, rental housing in particular, I think that it would be in the best interest of the city for us to actually pay the landlord on behalf. If let's say a tenant comes and says, I can't pay my bill, I have back rent or whatever, it would be us paying the landlord on behalf of the tenant. So the landlord themselves can't get over. Does that make sense?
But if the landlord applies, we'll be paying a landlord personally, because he's
No,
saying.
I'm agreeing with you. No, I'm agreeing with you.
Okay.
I'm just saying that. So basically what I'm saying is the tenant themselves wouldn't be the one giving the money to the landlord.
Right.
So I was doubling down on what you were saying.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there was one other thing in here. There's one other thing I was looking at. So if they've already, so are we going to have any? Can they show any proof where they've been rejected by another government entity? Because they would, some people do double dip. They'll apply to us, then they'll apply to the county, then they apply to the state.
Absolutely, and that's where a lot of these things are in the application. We can definitely put that in the application.
Proof of rejection from other government entities. Okay. All right, that's it for me.
Okay.
I will tell you, I'm not going to ask any more questions, but I can't. All right.
I'm not surprised, but no, this is, like I said, this is helpful. This is to benefit our citizens. So I'm fine with it, 100%.
Okay, all right, I'm done. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions from council members? All right. Moving on. Next up, a resolution to censure Mayor Kashina A. Cross. Any comments, questions regarding this piece of legislation from council members? Okay. Moving on. Moving on to reports. Keeping in habit of what we've been practicing. All of the reports from the mayor, the acting city manager, police chief, and the treasurer have submitted their reports. They've been sent to the council for reading ahead. Are there any questions for any other department heads or Mayor Cross regarding the reports that have been submitted?
Mr. President.
Councilman Herring?
Yeah, I just submitted today the expenses for the Glenarden Day. I sent it to all the council and also to the treasurer, and I just want to make sure that the treasurer received that and that he just cross-checked my numbers for me. So,
Mr. Stewart, did you receive it?
Well, due to the fact that I'm not in, yes, so,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
yeah, so yeah, just cross-check that for me. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's what I will do.
When you return,
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
That's
Any
it for
other
me.
questions or comments related to any other reports from the department heads or Mayor Cross? Wow. We are making good time. All right. With that, we will move into the topics of discussion. First up is Cancer Awareness Event, Councilman Hairston.
Yeah, how you doing? Thanks. I just want to give a small recap from October 29th on the cancer awareness event. It was just an excellent event, so I'm just giving a brief little recap. I just wanted to thank the 2 for 2 Boobs, Picket Fences, our staff, Michelle, Ms. Wilson, Ms. Smallwood, of course, the whole city council, Ms. White, Public Works, Howard Taylor, he always does a great job, Ms. Schultz, all the beautiful vendors, Ms. Bailey Walls, all our citizens for coming out, Ms. Dr. Gupta, Dr. Regina Hampton, Dr. Kofi Essel, Dr. Joanne Frederick, and Clinton Burns. And if any council members or Councilman Herring got anything to add to that, that's all I had.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you, Councilman Hairston, for having the idea and bringing this to fruition. I'm just looking forward for it to be an annual event. And since that event, I've been eating more vegetables and fruit. So that might have been a turning point I needed.
I just want to say that it was a excellent event, and I am also looking forward to the next one next year, and let it be annual. And it was just superb. Thank you, guys.
All right. Next up is winter break, Councilman Herring.
Yeah, this is just throwing it out there as a suggestion that we look at maybe taking a December winter break, for the holidays, something. Most government entities try to take that little winter break, and that's just a suggestion I'm throwing out there. Maybe want to look at doing it. That's it on that.
Yeah, you have dates?
The month of December.
Oh, the full month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking at the month of December. It takes a month just to go through 3 meetings, it's a month. So we miss a month of meetings, so that's what I'm looking at, something.
All right. Thank you. Councilwoman Ferguson, I saw your, Vice President Ferguson, I saw your hand.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, what were the, what dates did he have in mind? So that was it.
Any,
I think he said now until January.
January what?
No, I didn't. I said now until, what is that, May 2025?
all right.
I was just saying like from December 1st to like the 31st. It'll be one meeting session that we won't have in this year, but just throwing it out there.
I'm pulling up the calendar now.
Council President, can I ask a question?
Yes.
And excuse me because I haven't fully comprehended all of the charter, but many times the charter will require that you have at least one meeting. I would suppose Councilman Herring would be well-versed on that. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, it says you're required to have one meeting. It didn't say when you need to have that meeting, but you can have a meeting. You can have a work session and be done at the beginning of December
Okay.
to meet the requirements of the charter.
And what would that take? That wouldn't necessarily be that would just be a decision from the
Yeah,
council.
from the council. That'd be a decision from the council. The charter does require you to have at least one meeting a month.
Okay.
Unless you, and the only time we can suspend it is in July, August.
Okay. Any other comments, opposition, thoughts from the council members on that?
No opposition here.
So let's see. So then we can move forward with the meeting the first week on Monday the 5th.
Right, and then just they would be on recess until January. The first work session in January.
Yeah, but the first work session falls on a holiday.
It's on a holiday, but it would be that Tuesday, if that's when council want to come back, unless they want to.
Can we just move it, push it back, and just start the week of the 9th?
Oh,
I mean, we can start on the 3rd. If you
well,
guys
yeah, you can push it. Oh, what you talking about, the 9th of January?
Yeah, so 9th of
Yeah,
January being a work
yeah, you
session.
could do that.
No. Any opposition for us resuming? So having a work session, just a meeting, it could be a work session, or we can classify it as a regular session, whatever. On December the 5th, and being in recess until January the 9th. Are we good on that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. Is there anything official we need to do so we're not missing any checkbox? Do we need to have a consensus or a vote?
We probably need to make a motion on the floor at the next meeting.
Okay, in the regular session.
In the regular session, yeah.
Okay. We will do that. All right. Thank you.
Councilwoman Jones' hand is up.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Jones.
So this does not mean that we're going to neglect any of the business of the city. If something comes up that we need to address, or any resolutions that come up in between November and December the 5th that need to be addressed.
No. If there's anything that needs to be addressed, any emergencies, then we're all held on an oath to take care of business of the city. So we will all, I will send a message out to the council. We'll all come together for whatever that event or emergency is.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Okay. Next up is security cameras up front, and we'll just take security cameras at the upper parking lot together. Councilman Harry.
You can skip both of those since we already discussed security cameras. I didn't know that was a part of the resolution, so we can cross that out.
Okay. Code enforcement, Councilman Harry.
I was just I reached out to the chief to get the report that I was asking for last month. I got that, so I'm fine there. Thanks, chief, for that.
You're welcome.
So it was just a breakdown, and actually you can actually send it to the rest of the council members also. It's just a breakdown of the citations and everything that was written between the officers. I do have an issue with there only being 2 officers on that list.
Yes.
And we got 3.
Yes. And that's a good point of discussion because I also saw that. And real quick, guys, the way I run my leadership program always did was always got input from my guys to see what they're doing. And the bottom line is to accomplish the mission. So I always go around and ask the guys because they do it on a daily basis. And from the outside looking in, a lot of times we see things and we get a perception. And once we get their explanation, it's more understandable. In reference to this with the code enforcement guys, I saw that and I was, automatically, I'm like, okay, I got 3 guys. Why just have 2 people listed on here? So, because I do hold my people accountable. So I was a little disturbed. So I called the guys in and asked them about it. And they brought up a very valid point to me. Because prior to that, I rode around with the guys in Ward 1 just to see what they do, how they do it, their knowledge and experience. So in this particular instance, they described to me is that Bennett, he does the driving, and Wright, he able to watch the block while he's driving through the block. He can see if somebody's working in the yard, working on the roof or whatever, not distracting the driver. And so while Bennett is driving, he sees vehicles with citations, left wheel to the curb, expired tags while he's driving because he's already focused on the road. The passenger is looking at the houses and stuff as they go to the block. And he said that concept worked pretty well for them. So whoever sees a violation for citation is the person that has to write it. So they explained that to me. And I thought it was a good system, but I tell them I'll evaluate it for another month. But it doesn't negate the fact that Wright doesn't write any citations, but that's the system he was using. So my question was, okay, Wright, when Bennett's not here on Saturday, what do you do then? So he's like, oh no, I'll write citation, this and this and that. So I just wanted to get an understanding from them on how they operate. With that being said, that's why I just had 2 people in there, and I will get that out to the council. Council member Herring brought up some good points in reference to code enforcement. And as I told him before, because he did ask about the citations and so forth. So I did, I meet with all my guys, tell them what my expectations are, and we move forward from there. And as you can see, and you've seen upcoming months, they've been writing more citations, doing more things, more business checks and stuff like that. The biggest thing is that the guys, I make them feel important, that they're a valuable part of the team. And when you do that, the guys step it up, they step into the game. Once they feel like they're a valuable part of the team and we're not scrutinizing everything they do, they give you 110%. Most of the time. Every once in a while, you get that one individual where you have to take actions to get rid of that individual. And I have no problem with that if it arrives to that occasion. But these guys are willing to learn. So I'm very excited about that. And that's where we stand right now. But I'm very transparent. I appreciate Mr. Herring advising me on that. And if anybody else in the council or this community have any issues, by all means, contact me. And sometimes, like I said, perception sometimes is not exactly what you see. Once you get once you talk to the person that's actually doing the job. So that's the way I run my leadership programs, and it proved to be pretty effective. So I appreciate all you guys in reference to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you. Chief Brian, has their vehicle been delivered yet?
No, ma'am. They're at the shop. They've been decaled. We just wait for the lights to come in so they can put the lights on them. Once they get the lights on them, they'll be ready and out. So Captain Jackson is going up there tomorrow because he just advised me around 2 p.m. today that the 2 police vehicles were ready for delivery from Pennsylvania to Global, the shop that put the lights and decals on them. So I told him when he talked to him tomorrow, check on our code enforcement vehicles and see what's the problem with the lights. But they said that they had the decals. They're just waiting for the lights to come in for those vehicles.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President,
Councilman Harry.
I guess we're buying 2 new cars, correct?
Yes, we have 2 cars coming for code enforcement.
And we have 1 that we still have here that's still usable.
That car broke down. They took it to the shop and they got it fixed in time, so they did have a vehicle. But we probably 1 vehicle for sure, the one that the rain's coming in that they don't try not to drive too much now. We took that to the shop and they've like it costs more money to fix it than it's worth at this particular time. So pretty much we have like 2.5 vehicles, the 2 new vehicles and this last one hanging on by a thread.
I guess my problem is we've never had 2 code enforcement officers riding together. I don't see how that works. I think that's a waste of manpower. If that's the case, I would have rather just had 1 and bought another vehicle or something, or because I just see that. Because I'm gonna tell you personally, I can ride out of Glenard at 4 in the morning and I can come back in at 4 in the afternoon and I can probably see more violations than what's being written. Honestly, I mean, just like on Saturday, somebody laid the whole driveway. It seemed like there should be some. Each person should be driving individually, and there should be some crossover when with patrols, so that one missed something, maybe another person may pick it up. And you need to cruise through the city in a slow rate, not like it's a racetrack. When they're driving faster than some of the residents that drive through here, that's a problem. So, like I said, I think that more can be done. I see, some citations that need to be written that's not being written. When I see a whole driveway being put in, I saw a whole addition on the back of a house, which I still don't know where we are with that house that added that back piece on the back of it. It's things like that I should not have to be reporting to, or no council member should have to be reporting to, or no citizen that should be reporting to code. They should be catching some of this. I know citizens do have a say in. Citizens do have a partnership with code enforcement because they do need to let them know, because they're not going to see everything. But some of this stuff is like in plain sight. And I just think that 2 officers riding along in a car is not the best use of the city's tax dollars. Because citizens are asking me, why are there 2 people in the car? I'm like, I don't know. Because like I said, if you take your time riding through, you'll see, get out the car. Like I said, meet to talk to the people, explain to the people the situation, but I've seen them ride through the city and I've seen they don't be cruising slow, so I just don't, me personally being in the city as long as I have been, I don't see that as a good use of manpower to have 2 people riding in the same car when you got 3 cars and you got a city this big, which is getting ready to grow again, with the addition of more houses. We need some overlap and we need some continual patrol of the streets in Glenard when it comes down to code enforcement. Like I said, a lot of other municipalities have 0 tolerance. Glenard seems not to. They give them out on everything. Citizens get out on everything. They violate, okay, pay this and you're good. No, the code says if you violate the code, you build something you're not supposed to build, it's supposed to be pulled up. So that's just my feelings on that. But like I said, we can have a one-on-one conversation later.
Yes, sir. And
right.
real quick, let me elaborate on that real quick. And like I said, I'm open to suggestions and just getting your point that quick about them riding in separate cars. I don't have a problem with that. And that's what I said, I want the best for the city of Glenard and the best for the residents. So you just brought up a good point. And that's something I can look at and we can move forward from there. But at the end of the day, we want the best for the city. And so
Right.
I appreciate that. I most definitely appreciate the input. On a different note, now with some of the things we discussed about some of the violations and stuff, and some of the reports they get, and not all of them are violations all the time.
Oh, right, I
So,
understand that, yeah.
yeah. So we do look into it.
Right.
And guys, yeah, they look into it. But yeah, we're talking offline. But hey, you just brought up a very good point. So that's something I'll be looking at. And like I said, I want to use the tax dollars, and trust me, I think when they get these new cars, they don't want to be riding together anyway. But the thing about it is, you're right. I should have them. They should be going all over the city doing their thing. So that's something I'll look at. And if anybody else, to include the citizens, have any ideas or suggestions for my operations or any one of my units, by all means, let me know and we can take a look at it. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Fingerprinting, Councilman Herring.
Yeah, same thing. I reached out to the chief on this about the fingerprinting and when are we going to extend those hours to what the charter requires, I mean, what the code requires, which is 9 to 5. I think with them, with them doing what, having more concealed carry, you have to have live scan fingerprinting now, I think. That's a requirement?
Yes, sir.
And I think that's going to pick up.
Yes, sir. So right now where we stand with that is we're trying to get an N number for our other employee that just got employed, that's working downstairs with us. We've been having a problem with the state getting her the N number. It's an N number that with the system, and then you can, once we have to get it for a couple of police officers to include myself, so we can run NCIC, which is National Criminal Check. So with the charter's pretty much process 9 to 5 or whatever. But the person I have, Miss Vivica Jones, she's been doing it for a long time, very professional. The difference is she not only do the fingerprinting, she do our UCR, our NCIC, and she do other reports. So she's multitasking, and with her multitasking, she's still able to accomplish a lot. And that's why we're one of the only municipalities that's in 100% compliance. The thing with the fingerprinting, especially now, since that we're having more people come in, like I told Dean and stuff, we'll surpass the revenue we had last year because more people are coming in. But from the outside looking in, you don't see what's entailed in her fingerprint and stuff. And once again, I went with her and saw she did it in the whole process. You got to come in, they got to fill out forms, you got to check ID. It's a whole long process. And once she's finished with that individual, she has to go back into that system and make sure every driver license, that's a whole list of stuff she got to do for each person. So I actually checked over with Capitol Heights. They do theirs from 9 to 4. And they said they cut theirs back because the same, you got to be very careful with the numbers you're putting in, this and this and that. And that person that does it in Capitol Heights from 9 to 4, that's all that person does. That person doesn't do any NCIC, that person doesn't do any UCR. They said, well, how would they be able to do all that? You know, because the fingerprint itself, especially when it goes to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, everything must be on point. So I did take into account what you said, but once again, I spoke with my individuals. And once I get Michelle the N number, we'll see about going a different route. But right now, my person, Ms. Jones, she's doing an outstanding job. She's very professional. I had several calls in reference to the work she's done. I've had people call up and find out that when she's on leave, they said, well, we'll wait until she gets back. So she's very efficient in the hours. The hours, yeah. So say, for example, real quick, say you get a person that comes in at 4:15. If the person come at 4:15, that process, Ms. Jones won't be able to leave out there until 5:30. So you'll have to have a cutoff. So I see it what she does when she come in the morning and she cut off, because I ask all the questions that you guys ask. And she's most definitely working diligently. And the biggest thing we can do now is try to get Michelle trained to help her out. But it's a professional environment. We got a lot of good feedback. And right now, as it stands, I like to stay and keep it the way it is until we get Michelle trained, and we can talk offline more about that later. Thank you.
Councilwoman Jones.
Chief Bryant, for the fingerprinting, isn't that you have to be certified by the state to do that? All of the classes? are given by the state and you have to be certified by the state?
Yes, and that's where the N number comes in.
Mhm.
It's yeah, because they have to do a background check on you. It's a process. But right now, because of COVID and the number of people they're trying to find, it's several of us, the new people, to include myself, haven't gotten N numbers yet. But we'll need that N number to get the other person certified and to go through the process. So it's going to take a while. So like I said, I'm open to options and stuff, but right now that's the most effective way we're doing it now. And it's very professional and we're getting a lot accomplished. So right now I like to stay with it like the way it is for that.
All right, sir, thank you.
All right. Next up is sell police vehicle cruiser number 117, acting city manager Bryant.
Yes, real quick, that's one of our outdated vehicles that's no longer in service. We did the same thing with 118 and 119. I know y'all know from previous resolutions and so forth. Marlow Heights, they've been buying them, purchasing from us for $100. So that's the next one we like to go to leave and for them to actually purchase. So I just want to bring that to you guys' attention in reference to that.
Okay.
We already spoke about the snow removal bids. We already talked about that.
Yes, 1 second.
The opera project manager.
1 second,
Oh, sorry.
Chief Bryant. I think Councilman Herring, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. So Chief, just for future reference, I think to save time, when you want to do that, just bring a resolution.
Yes, sir.
It'll save time. We won't have to, bring a resolution. We can have it at the work session. We can have it at the public hearing, and then we can go ahead and vote on it and move it on through.
Okay.
It'll save you a lot of time.
Thank you.
Just a suggestion, yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Thanks.
Okay. Acting city manager, if you want to go through the last three, we did snow
Yes.
removal.
Yes.
Well, let's go project manager, because you may have some questions on this, the opera project manager.
Yes. Karen Schultz and myself, we reached out to this guy. We had one individual that was qualified for the position. He set several dates to come in and meet with Ms. Schultz. Of course, he didn't come in when he was supposed to. He elected to come in on the day when he wasn't scheduled after the fact. Once he got in, I spoke with him, told him the serious nature of this position, his body language, his demeanor, his look were all unsatisfactory to me to represent the city of Glenarden as a project manager. We did give him a date to take his drug screening. Of course, he never got back to us. So I asked Ms. Schultz to take him off the list of candidates and to put the announcement back out because we need somebody serious in that position. And I don't deal with unprofessionalism that was presented to me. So she'll be putting that announcement back out on Wednesday when she gets back in reference to that position. I did speak with Ms. Barber prior to her leaving about an individual that Bowie uses that's very sharp that we can use on a part-time basis for $12.50 a month. He's very versed in all the grants and so forth. And I like to use that as an option. Once we can talk about it with the city council and the mayor, however you guys want to move forward with that. But I don't see a problem with a part-time individual as long as he's handling what we need handled in a professional and timely manner. Because the city of Glenarden, there's a lot of grants out there that's available to us, and someone that's a professional that can get it done in a timely manner, I think would be great. I have his information that we can discuss later with his name and so forth, his contact information, and I'll see if he's still interested once we talk about it. And real quick, on a different note, I just want to make sure that you guys know that the King site, they started working on that again today. They went out there and started to lay down, I think, the rubber part for the physical fitness part. So they'll be out there. I think they'll be back out tomorrow and director sent some people out there. We had the police out there to monitor to make sure they were safe. And the last thing I have on my list is the police building. I want to thank Vice President Ferguson. She was able to send it at 8:23 this morning. She sent the packet for the bond bill out this morning. I forwarded it also to the mayor, and I'll be looking at that to see how we can proceed with that. But back to the police building, the company Murphy and Dittenhofer, that's based out of Baltimore. The city treasurer and myself, we've been working with them in reference to that. And if the city, if the treasurer on, he can give you more insight on where we stand with them at this particular time, and what they attempting to do to try to get this police station moving forward.
Thank you, Chief. We were trying to get a ballpark figure in order to get the bond bill done. But the company was offering us a $48,000 for the whole building of the station. And we only wanted a ballpark figure. And we, kind of spoke with them to find out if they could bill us only for a maximum of $5,000 in order to just give us that number so we could present it to the bond bill. So we are still in discussion with them to negotiate the best price to get the ballpark figure to present. I think it's come December 1st that we'll need to do the application for the bond bill. So that's where we are with that is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Stewart. Councilwoman Jones?
Thank you. Is this standalone or is it build out?
It's a standalone. We actually pulled the old blueprints that was actually made by a company in 2006 for the site in between, right by the police station out in the field area. We had to bounce and stuff. So that's the plan that we shared with Murphy and Dittenhofer and the property. So like the treasurer said, they came out, they did a walkthrough with us, they viewed the property, and for them to redo the plan for what we're looking for and to do the ground assessment, all this type of stuff. They're telling the $48,000. So we've like, we need a ballpark figure to present to the city council and for the bond bill. So we're still, hopefully we hear something from them because we want to give you guys a ballpark figure. We just can't be like, don't get a ballpark figure, then they come back and tell us, well, yeah, that's $3 million. Because we do have a budget and we told them about our budget. So that's where we are with them. Hopefully we hear something from them by next week. And so we can try
the $48,000 is an initial cost, or is that the cost for the architect, the architectural firm?
Right, for the architectural firm to proceed with the ground and all the type of stuff, the blueprints and so forth. And I mean, if that's the price, that's cool. But what we were saying is that can we give you like $6,000 for a ballpark figure, and that be a part of it? Because our treasurer, he's serious about the money, so he's trying to negotiate with them in reference to that, and I totally agree with him. Because we need to present a ballpark figure for the bond bill and to you guys. So that's what we stand with it. We wasn't just trying to pay $48,000 to get a ballpark figure. So that's
right. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's clearer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Guillaume, and then I'll go to you, Councilman Harry.
Thank you, Council President. This isn't going to take long, I promise. Acting City Manager / Chief Bryant, quick question. Wanted to go back to the project manager suggestion for a second. So do we know if the particular individual from Bowie would be available to work part-time, or is this something that we're just throwing out there?
When the former city manager was here, he was available. I was able to get his information from her, but I haven't reached out to him yet because I wanted to give this other guy a chance.
Okay.
But once I met him and was unhappy with Yeah, everything. So I do have his contact information and I can reach out to him. And like I said, I can find out if he's still interested and get some more information from him in reference to that.
That's great. And thank you for, hopefully we dodged a bullet. So thank you for that. No pun intended. I just heard what I said to a chief of police. What I do want to state that was something that we as a council also was thinking at one point, with some of us, where we were saying that maybe we can share a person with another municipality who had a project person. So thank you for moving on that. Hopefully this works, but if not, hopefully we can explore other municipalities also who have project managers that would be willing to assist the city, because we are, again, as you can see from this evening, we're passing legislations left and right pertaining to ARPA, and it's just passing legislation, so. But when I say passing, I'm sorry, bringing forth legislation, excuse me.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilman Guillaume. Ms. Schultz?
Yes, just to piggyback off of acting city manager. I think the issue with the candidate was we wanted him to go to one Concentra. He insisted on going to another. He actually called, the found straw was, he actually called me one day this week and says, well, I have the results. Of course, we don't have the results yet. And he just didn't present, he wasn't the type of person that I felt could represent the city and do due diligence to the city of Glenard with his appearance coming in for the first time meeting someone.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Schultz. Councilman Herring? Councilman Herring, did you have anything?
Yeah, so I guess I want to get this clear. So Chief, they're gonna charge us $48,000 to assess the property, do the borings necessary over there to see if there's any springs or water, and check to see if there's any sewer lines or utility lines running through there for $48,000.
Yes.
Hmm.
I'm laughing like you are. But like I said, that's their profession. That's what they do. But we were looking at options beside that. And if that's what they do, we just want to, like I said, even if they do, and that is the price, and we do move forward with it, we get it approved, everything. The biggest thing we asking for now is, first and foremost, if you do all that for $48,000, and then you come back and tell us $4 million for that, we lost, I don't know if we lost 48,000, but we're not trying to take that chance. So we're trying to get them to understand. And we talked, and we had a heated discussion actually, because they're telling us that all the people that were involved, and there's like $5,000 pretty much will cover one of the technicians for what they're doing and this and this and that. And I don't know exactly what they do, but they supposed to be getting back in touch with us next week.
Yeah, I mean, the property has already been assessed, and that's what was driving me crazy, because it's already been assessed, and we actually had that. The information should be up there somewhere, because the company that was there before, Calvanian, sent the architects over, and they did all of that, and they gave us the report, and the report should be up there. And their assessment was actually $2 million at that time. That was about 13, 14 years ago. It was $2 million to build out that building. So I'm sure now it's either 3 million, 3.5, probably close to 4. So you didn't ask them to. They probably wouldn't give you an assessment on bumping out the back of that building. You didn't get that out. You didn't, that option.
Right. So at the time when we did the initial, but we brought that up last week. We brought it up last week as an option for the $48,000. And that guy, Frank, that came out for the first assessment, he'll have to come back out. But he wasn't available to come out in the next 2 weeks. And we was trying to get a number for the bond bill, for the paperwork for that. So that's why we're still in talks with them to try to actually get a ballpark figure. Because I think that's one of the things we're going to need for you guys and for the bond bill. Yeah, but we did tell them as an option, coming back on looking at the back of the building and adding on to that. And actually, like we discussed, going up a couple of floors, going up 2 floors, however they design it. So right. Yeah, yes, sir.
So did you reach out to CPJ? Are the engineers?
No, sir. And me, myself and the treasurer, we're trying to find some other options. But apparently this Murphy and Dittenhofer did some of the other municipalities in the area. And I reached out to a couple of them and nobody mentioned, only thing they mentioned to me was Murphy and Dittenhofer for the most recent ones, for the most recent stations in the area. So I didn't have any idea of CPJ, but that is most definitely an option.
Yeah, CPJ. We work with, we have a contract, we still, I think we had a go as you pay, pay as you go contract with CPJ engineers. And my thing is, if you just want to get he probably can give you a ballpark figure on what it would cost. They might not be able to tell you exactly, but they work with us and we have rates already in place. So you may want to just reach out to them to see if they can give you something, and I would just get something on both of them.
Yes, sir.
The standalone and the what you call it, because again, like I told you, the bond bill is tricky. Everybody wants that money. So, you have options. So
Yes, sir.
I would reach out to CVJ. We use them over and over again.
Okay, thank you for the information, and I'll be on that today. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm gonna look and see if I can find that other architectural assessment that they actually did the first time on that piece of property over there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
That's all I have, President Curtis.
Thank you. Acting City Manager / Chief Bryant. Okay. All right, with that is the last topic of discussion. Please note, pursuant to Annotated Code of Maryland, State Government Article Section 10508, the council by majority vote may retire to executive or closed session at any time during the meeting. Should the council retire to executive or closed session, the chair will announce the reasons and a report will be issued at a future meeting disclosing the reasons for such closed session. With that, I am making a motion to go into closed session to discuss the contents of a contract a competitive contract between two bids were received for the cable station as topic 1, and topic 2 will be to discuss disruptive and disturbing behavior by an elected official. With that, I motion that we go into closed executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All right. With that, Council Clerk, unless I missed anything, Acting Council Clerk.
No, sir, we're good.
All right.
Councilwoman Fareed,
Yes.
Councilwoman, I'm sorry, Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Hairston,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
and President Curtis.
Yes,
Vote carries 7-0.
thank you. With that, the meeting is now closed. I'll ask that Ms. Ward and Chief Bryant remain behind. Everyone else, have a good night.